Hi, I'm Tony Daring of GoCogno.com. I am so pleased and excited to announce a new partnership between GoCogno.com and Kemper Cognitive Wellness. Joining me today to discuss it are Dr. Nate Bergman, Chief Scientific Wellness Officer at Kemper, and Jenny Kemper, Director of Kemper Cognitive Wellness.
So, Jenny, Kemper has this great tradition of being at the forefront of cognitive health. And just talk a little bit about that history.
Well, for the Kemper family, this disease is very personal. My father-in-law was diagnosed about 10 years ago with the disease. And before that, his mother in the 1980s, Alzheimer's disease, that is. Kristen Kemper asked herself, am I next? What about my children? She and Betty Kemper were moved by the latest research of Dr. Dale Bredesen and others, pointing to root causes of cognitive decline and multimodal interventions to effectively push back against the disease. So in 2018, she started Kemper Cognitive Wellness, and we're here today. We're thrilled that Dr. Nate Bergman joined us about a year ago. He joined us from the Cleveland Clinic, and we're blessed to have him on our team. We're working hard together to really change the face of what it means to have a diagnosis of cognitive impairment, whether it's Alzheimer's, dementia, mild cognitive impairment, and really help people to live well, to push back against the disease, and live well throughout their life.
Dr. Bergman, as Jenny mentioned, you came to Kemper from the Cleveland Clinic Center for Functional Medicine, where you co-developed the program for cognitive impairment. And I just so much admire your commitment to functional medicine and treating the whole person. You say that Alzheimer's, mild cognitive impairment, other brain diseases are generally treatable and reversible. And 3, 4, 5 years ago, a statement like that wasn't being made. Talk a little bit about your ability to say that now and some of the approaches that you're taking that allow you to actually see those kind of results.
So it's a really good question. So the R word, reversible, is a tricky word. It's a tricky word. I don't use the R word too much because that's a promise that I think our field isn't quite ready to make yet. I don't think the data is there, but there's a tremendous literature and interest from the community on solving this problem. It really boils down to that it no longer makes sense to wait around for what many of us thought was inevitable, Alzheimer's disease. Since 2018, things are changing. If you go into PubMed, you do a literature search in Google Scholar, or just Google it, you can use terms like risk reduction. You can use terms like precision medicine. You can use terms like prevention. Another article coming out, I'm sure you saw this, 12 factors that will reduce 40% of Alzheimer's cases. So it's all the things we knew before: diabetes, obesity, hypertension, having enough education, getting enough movement and exercise. But then we're learning more. So we continue with too much alcohol, too much air pollution, things like that, head injuries, all of those things. We're sort of learning more and more. And so the more we know that you got to take action early. We need to identify it early, because the earlier we identify it, the more treatable it is. I think hardcore neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's, like Parkinson's, other things, the earlier that we can identify these things, the more the treatments, at least that I have at my disposal and we have here, are more likely to work. You can do something for everybody at every stage, but in terms of reversibility or really having a remission of symptoms, it seems that you have to get this earlier. Mild cognitive impairment is a perfect time to be taking major action.
Now, Jenny, lifestyle issues, exercise, diet, stress management. Now, on your staff, you have real expertise in those areas. So please talk a little bit about how this partnership will allow us to better educate people.
The first line of attack is generally lifestyle issues. And in terms of nutrition, movement, sleep, adequate restorative sleep, and stress management, those concepts seem easy, but implementing is where people get stuck. So we have a number of resources to not only educate people, but then actually equip them as they go down that path. So in this day and age, we're showing up a lot online with free webinars, educating people on all those areas, and just the latest in the research that we have that's showing what can be done to really dial in and push back against cognitive loss. So we're looking forward to partnering with you to offer some educational content, some workshops, perhaps some Facebook Lives for your audience. There's so much knowledge out there that we really need to spread and share with the masses. And then I also mentioned too that once people have the information, sometimes going back to the idea of it not necessarily being easy to implement, we do have resources within our company to equip individuals. We have a registered dietitian nutritionist who's phenomenal, health coaches, certified functional medicine health coaches, and we also have certified brain trainers on staff. So a number of resources to support people in their journey.
So Dr. Bergman, one thing that you and I have in common is the use of new media to reach people and spread this message. I have a website, I have a YouTube channel. You have a podcast, Evolving Past Alzheimer's. And I want to say I think your podcast is exceptional. I catch every episode, and I feel that every single time you break new ground, and I find that so helpful. Now, we've had chances to work together. I've had chances to feature Kemper's work, your work, on my website and my videos. This partnership will give us more chances, but I want to make sure people are tuned into your podcast as well. So could you talk a little bit about how you became a podcaster and your approach with your podcast?
Yeah, sure. I just love podcasting. I just learned so much from podcasting. I also learn better through listening. Audio works better for me than reading for certain kinds of things. And in my life, it's like most people, it's really, really busy. And usually when I have time is in the car or during exercise or something like that. So listening becomes a great medium for me. So I've wanted to do it since 2013, 2014, but the equipment was expensive, and it's still a large time commitment and essentially a part-time job that we don't get paid for. So it's mostly a labor of love. But so thank you for asking. We're always looking for sponsors. patreon.com /evolving past. But it's evolving past Alzheimer's, and honestly, one of the reasons I started doing it is because it was such a good opportunity to talk to people that I would want to talk to anyway. And like you mentioned, it sort of depends on the guests and what the subject is. But we have some loyal following, and then some people that are it's very technical. But for people that are sort of in the throes of Alzheimer's or are worried about it, I get good feedback in terms of the resources. So thank you for bringing that up, and thank you for asking.
Of course, at the end of this, I'll be sharing links to the podcast, to the Kemper website, to events, to make sure people are educated. I've appreciated this chance to chat with you about it. Super excited about the partnership. Love where we're going to be able to take it. As we wrap up here, any parting thoughts from either of you?
Yeah, thanks, Tony. Thanks for having us again. And we're so excited about the opportunity and the partnership. I think I love the quote Dr. Bergman shares, and I think he might be quoting Dr. Dale Bredesen when he says that we're at the dawn of the age of treatable neurodegenerative disease, and it's so exciting.
Yes, these are exciting times indeed in the treatment of MCI, and I am excited by all of the ways that Kemper and I are going to be able to better serve you through this partnership. Much more to come on that, so stay tuned. Thanks for joining me this week. I'll see you again next week. Until then, as always, be kind to your mind.